Okay, this is the Cleveland Guardians June overview. Um, Also, as with the Cubs, in very good shape in your division. You've been red hot lately. This team kind of hung around 500 for the first month and a half or so, and has really taken off in the last few weeks. 9-1 in your last 10 games. Opened up a pretty healthy lead here in the Central. You got the Twins and the Royals and maybe even the Tigers on kind of the periphery of the division race. I don't know if any of these teams are going to be able to get hot enough to catch you, especially if you keep playing this well. But as you see, your team is ranked 10th overall, 21st in contact, 21st in power, 5th in pitching, 3rd in defense, 21st in speed. So it is 100% your pitching that's carrying you right now. The offense has not been great, but the pitching has been outstanding. Let's take a look at 296 runs. That's not terrible. We just did the Cubs overview, and they had scored, I believe, 330, maybe even 360 runs. Let me take a look. 336. Okay. So they're scoring 40 runs more than you so far on the season, which isn't insignificant. It's a little bit over half a run a game, but you've only allowed 281 runs. That's pretty good. As you can see, it's not incredible. I mean, the Twins have allowed fewer runs. The Royals have been really good in run prevention. So, I mean, this run differential is plus 15. It's not bad, but it's not great either. I think that record is probably buoyed a little bit by the fact that every team in your division has a negative run differential right now. So it's kind of a weak division. So I have a feeling you're beating up on some of those teams, although you're only 11-9 in the division. But I think you might be overperforming a little bit at 41-28 is what I'm getting at. The run differential suggests that you might only be a 4 or 5 wins above 500 team at this point. And you're sitting at 13 games over 500, so you might have been a little bit lucky to this point in the season, but there are, I think, some obvious areas that this team can improve. And let's take a look at the pitching rotation. Tanner Bibby has been fantastic. Shane Bieber's been really good. Gavin Williams, really good. Daniel Espino has been hot lately. He had some trouble allowing a lot of base runners early in the season, led to that elevated whip, but the ERA at 4.33 is fine for a number 4 starter. I think if you went into the season getting that out of him, you would have been pretty happy with that. John Means has been pretty solid as a number 5 starter. Not spectacular, not striking out a lot of guys, but that's fine as a number 5 starter. I think you're happy with that. Joey Cantillo has not been great as the long reliever. He's allowing a lot of base runners. He's been able to kind of dance around it for a 4.55 ERA, but a 1.92 whip is awful. He is striking guys out. It's a possibility that this is just a little bit of small sample size. You keep him in this role, the whip and the ERA may come down, but he hasn't been excellent. Tim Herron's been pretty solid in middle relief. The whip is a little bit elevated, but the ERA is great. Paul Sewald has not been awesome in middle relief. He's just kind of getting by. Riley Pite has not been particularly good. I mean, he's striking guys out, but the ERA and whip is a little bit elevated. So I think right there, immediately, we see a place where this team could potentially improve. I think you got to keep Tim Herron in there. I think that whip's probably going to come down. He's a 79 overall. He's a pretty good pitcher, but I think you could probably upgrade your middle relief a little bit. Cade Smith has been awesome as setup. Sam Hitchens has been really good in setup. Emmanuel Clase has been pretty good as the closer. He's had a couple blow ups, but overall, the work has been really solid. A 105 whip is really good. He's striking guys out. He's just had one or two outings that have been a little bit of rough that have that ERA elevated. We look at the lineup. Stephen Kwan has been pretty solid in the leadoff role. Hopefully, he goes on a bit of a hot streak here soon, gets that average up closer to 300. That OBP will come up with it. Jose Ramirez has been awesome in the number 2 role. Sorry, I got a cough. He's been awesome in the number 2 hole. 273 average, 18 homers, 353 OBP. I mean, he's just doing Jose Ramirez things. Bo Naylor has been pretty solid offensively. Guy doesn't hit lefties very well, but mashes righties. He's hit 15 homers in just 190 at bats. 237 average isn't great, but he takes a lot of walks. He's got the 326 OBP, 542 slug. I mean, that's really, really good offensive performance out of the catcher position, and he's a good defensive catcher. Kyle Manzardo has been awesome, hitting 312. Limited power, just 5 homers. That may tick up a little bit. I'd like to see him maybe get close to 20 by the end of the season, but he'd have to get hot to do that. He might settle in around 15 homers. But 312 batting average, 379 OBP, and still a 470 slugging. So he's hitting a lot of doubles. Just not a ton of home run power right now. He's been excellent. Kind of goes back between DH and first base with Carlos Santana. Nolan Jones has been okay. The power output's not great. 243 average, 324 on base percentage, only a 372 slugging. So he's not hitting the ball with a lot of authority. I still like him as a player. I think there are some good pieces there. You see, he's got really good plate discipline. He does strike out a lot with that vision at just 36. But he hits righties pretty well. But kind of hoping he turns it around a little bit. Carlos Santana, he's better against lefties at this point than he is against righties. I think there is a possibility that at some point he gets taken out of this lineup against righties. Maybe Will Brennan goes in, but Will Brennan hasn't been hitting the ball very well either. I mean, he's hitting just 226 with a 348 slugging percentage. I mean, this is a hole right here in the lineup. It can be filled, I think, either with an outfielder or a first baseman at this point, because Nolan Jones could play first or outfield. And you've also got Manzardo who could play first base. So this doesn't have to be filled with a first baseman. It could also be an outfielder. It could be a straight-up DH if you just want to shift Manzardo to first base full-time. But Carlos Santana might be getting to the point in his career where he's just a platoon guy, hits against lefties. The numbers have still been pretty solid. 271 average, 341, 435, but most of that, again, has just been mashing lefties and not hitting righties a ton. Lane Thomas has kind of taken over the center field role. It actually opened up the season with Will Brennan in there against righties, but Lane Thomas was hitting very, very well against lefties. And Brennan wasn't hitting righties, so I just threw Lane Thomas out there full time, and he's been all right. I mean, he's hitting 260 with a little bit of power. He's a decent defensive player. He's got a great arm, runs the base as well. I think he's a pretty solid center fielder. I think you can get away with that. Rocio has definitely started to improve at shortstop. He's really good defensively. The offense was not there earlier in the season. He was really struggling, but he's gotten hot lately and brought those offensive numbers up. Like, that's production you can live with. Daniel Schneemann is the second baseman right now. This has kind of been a little bit of everybody throughout the season. Gabriel Arias got some at bats there, was not hitting the ball well, even though he's really good at second base. He's a really good defensive player. We saw Angel Martinez play a little bit there. We've had Khalil Watson play there. That spot, I'm basically just giving those at bats to whoever is hot in the moment, and right now that's Daniel Steeman. He's hitting the ball pretty well, so he's going to play against righties. Against lefties, you got Big Christmas, Johnsky Noel, John Kinsey Noel. He's not hitting super well. I mean, the dude just strikes out a ton. It's all or nothing. He's definitely better against lefties than righties. So I want to keep him on the field against lefties. Want to minimize how much he's out there against righties. But it's mostly the same lineup. You've got Austin Hedges in there right now, just because Bo Naylor does not hit lefties particularly well. So you get Hedges some at bats. He's really good defensively, but he's not hitting the ball at all. So maybe looking at a catcher who can hit lefties wouldn't be a bad idea. Gabriel Iglesias is in there at second base against lefties. Schneemann isn't bad against lefties, but Gabriel Arias hits lefties pretty well, and I would really like to get him going a little bit. I think he's a guy that can be a fringe starter, even though he's really struggled against right-handed pitching. So I hope to get him on kind of a hot streak against lefties, and hopefully he can settle in there. But, overall, this lineup is okay, but there's definitely some places you could upgrade. Nola Jones, I think, is all right. I don't think he's a guy you want hitting fifth in your lineup. The production just hasn't been there. I think this spot in the lineup is a clear spot to look for an upgrade. Again, that could be a DH, a corner outfielder, or a first baseman. I think you just need a bat to go in there and hit righties. And I think second base is an obvious spot for a potential upgrade. Schneemann is probably best suited as a bench bat, and so is Arias. I think adding a second baseman allows you to shift Angel Martinez to the minors. I don't think he's a major league player at this point. So adding a second baseman would also increase your bench depth. I think these are the two big spots that you have to look at and be like, this is a place where you can upgrade the lineup. We've already talked about areas where you could improve the pitching and maybe the middle relief. This team is off to a really solid start. There's a lot to be happy with. I think this is a playoff team, even if you do nothing. But I think there are some ways that you can add to this roster to really make a run at it in this season and also not take away from any future opportunities you have to add to this roster. If we look at your budget, your projected revenue is near 170 million. Your projected payroll is only at 121 million right now. You have 52.75 million in available budget. So you could add some money. You could either do that in season, use that budget flexibility to add to this roster now, or you could look to potentially save some of that and make a run at a big free agent in the offseason. You're in a good position here where I think you've got a really solid roster and you have a lot of budget flexibility. Let's take a look at your individualized budget. Your highest paid player is Jose Ramirez. Obviously worth it. Shade Bieber, 13 million. He's definitely worth that. Carlos Santana's making 12 million. Again, I think he's fine for this year. He's not on the books after this season. So that's going to be another 12 million that's free moving forward. Lane Thomas might be a guy you look to re-sign. I think he is your best and really only option in center field right now. Paul Sewald and Jacob Judas are probably not guys that come back. That's 11 million right there. If you need to free up extra money this year, you could include them in a trade. Otherwise, that money's coming off at the end of the season anyway. Hedges is making $4 million. Again, free agent at the end of the year. I mean, there is Trevor Stephon in the minors right now, who's pitching pretty well. So if you didn't want to trade for another relief pitcher and wanted to try to fix it internally, you could always call up Trevor Stephon and maybe send down Paul Sewald or another one of your middle relievers. I can't remember off the top of my head who the other middle reliever was that we were looking at. I can look it up really quickly. Riley Pite. Yeah, I think Riley Pite or Paul Sewald could go down, and you could potentially call up Trevor Stephon. Franco Elamon is also a potential option in the minors. He hasn't pitched super well in the minors, but he's also there as an option. Stephon's definitely pitched better. But yeah, this team is in a really good place. There's no bad contracts. You've got a lot of flexibility. You're in a solid position. I think things are going really well here. Let's take a quick look at All-Star voting. Doesn't look like you have any starting pitchers that are all that close. Shane Bieber's probably the closest down here. Relief pitchers, nobody's really in the running. Closers, Emmanuel Clase is down here a little bit. Maybe he could make a run to get back into the voting, but I think he's going to have to go on a bit of a hot stretch. Bo Naylor is right there for catchers. I think he could potentially chase down Yadier Diaz and make the All-Star team. First base, Kyle Manzardo and Carlos Santana are pretty close to the top of the list. A hot stretch from either one of those guys could get them back into the running. Gleyber Torres is second. He is on the trade block right now. So if you're looking for a second baseman, that could be a guy to target. But you don't have any second basemen that are really all that close. Daniel Schneemann is up there. He's played well, only 95 at bats, but he's a long ways off. Third base, Jose Ramirez. I think he's pretty much locked in as an all-star at this point. I mean, he would have to go on a really cold streak to not make it. Shortstop, boy, I don't think there's anybody here either. Brian Rocio, not bad, but he's still really nowhere close to the top of the All-Star voting list. Left field, Stephen Kwan is in the conversation. I think it's possible that he maybe chases down some of these guys, but he's going to have to go on a hot streak. Center field, Lane Thomas, quite a ways down the list. I don't think he gets into the All-Star game. Right field, Will Brennan and Nolan Jones are both down here. I don't think either of them get in. Designated hitter, Manzardo is down the list a ways. I mean, I think you got one All-Star for absolutely sure. I think Jose Ramirez is going. I think You probably get a second one in somewhere. Maybe it's Manzardo if he sneaks in, gets hot, adds some power. I think Bo Naylor is got a decent chance of making this team as well. Um, Again, there's some ratings bonuses that will be applied to next year for guys to make the All Star game. So you want to get as many guys in the All Star game as possible. There's also some ratings bonuses that come with making and then winning the home run derby. Um, and I think the only player that you probably have that is a possibility for the home run derby at this point is Jose Ramirez. I think he's got a shot to make it. But yeah, that's where we're at with the Cleveland Guardians at this point in the season. So another positive overview, and I think this team is in a really good place, Scott. I think there's maybe some things to look at to potentially add to this roster a little bit. But I think this is definitely looking like a playoff team at this point and a potential contender in the American League.